Hi everyone, this video is going to follow up with lesson 2.9 dealing with measures of center, specifically with the mean, and even more specifically regarding problems where you are asked to find the mean or you're asked to find a missing piece of data in order to reach a certain mean or a certain average. So this problem is pulled from one of your review packets, so definitely feel free to pause the video and get that packet out so that you can follow along and take some notes. So the question reads, Sam's shop makes a profit if the sales of sandwiches average 40 sandwiches a day. 1 week, on the first 6 days, he sold this many sandwiches. So say his week starts on Sunday, he sold 30 on Sunday, 37 on Monday, 45 on Tuesday, 51 on Wednesday, 35 on Thursday, and 38 on Friday. So our goal is we want to find out how many sandwiches would he need to sell on the 7th day, so in this case Saturday, to average 40 a day. So if you recall in class, I was telling you the average is assuming that like we live in this perfect world. So the average is saying if we were to kind of lay this out and say, okay, here's day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. Oop, I can spell, hang on. There we go. Day 4, day 5, day 6, and then day 7. If we are saying that we are averaging 40 sandwiches a day, we're saying that ideally we're literally selling 40 a day. This is what happens when you kind of move everything into this math world as opposed to the reality. So if this is the case, if we are averaging, or if we want to average 40 sandwiches a day, if we were to add all of those up, we're saying that we need to, so if we were to add those up, we're saying that we need to sell 280 total sandwiches in a week. But as you can see, so far, we did not sell exactly 40 every day. In some cases, we sold a little bit less, and in other cases, such as day 3 and day 4, we actually went above our goal. So again, in reality, we're never going to sell a perfect amount. And also, Sam would never say, well, I hit 40 for today, so I can stop selling sandwiches, I'm done. So he's obviously going to want to sell a little bit more in case he does hit those days where it's a little bit lower than 40. So what we can do is we can simply say, okay, if I know that my goal is to really sell 280 sandwiches, I can remove the amounts of the sandwiches that I've sold on the previous 6 days. So if we do that, probably hop into your calculator in order to make quick work of this. We actually find that for day 7, we need to sell 44 sandwiches. So maybe you're a little bit skeptical as to like, well, are you really sure? Well, let's go ahead and do a check. So I'm going to scoot this up a bit. So the check would be to actually take the average. So if we were to do 30 plus 37 plus 45 plus 51 plus 35 plus 38 plus 44, okay? So if we were to add this up, we know that in order to take the average, we're going to divide that by 7 because we want to know how many sandwiches we're selling for the entire week, and we know that an entire week accounts for 7 days. So if we add all of those up, we're going to get 280, and then if we divide that by 7, we're saying that we need to sell about 40 sandwiches a day, which is what, which was how it was described to us in the problem. All right. I will go ahead and actually add a little bit more to this. If this explanation makes sense to you, feel free to stop the video, but if you want to know a little bit more of an algebraic setup, so in other words, trying to create an equation, I would encourage you to go ahead and listen on. So I'm just going to draw a line here to kind of separate my work. So I'm just looking at a separate method. We can also look at this and say, okay, if I don't know what the 7th day is, I'm just going to say, let x equal the number of sandwiches sold on the 7th day. Because again, technically, if we read that original problem, we are saying, I don't know how many sandwiches I need to sell on the 7th day. That's the whole point of doing the problem. I need to make sure that I don't undersell and then miss my goal. But what we do know, since they're talking about averages, we do know how to set up an average. So in this case, again, day 1 sold 30 sandwiches, day 2 sold 37, day 3 sold 45, day 4 51, day 5 35, and day 6 38. And again, if I'm solving this problem, I don't know what day 7 is yet, so I'm going to put a variable in there. But I do know that when I add these up and divide them by 7, since there are 7 pieces counting that variable, I know that my variable should be equal to 40. So what we're going to find is, well, I need to go ahead and clean this up. So if we went ahead and did that, if we, say, added up all of these values, we would then get 236 plus x divided by 7 is equal to 40. And this might look like a problem that you had worked on earlier in this module. So again, the goal would be to get x by itself. So before we can do anything to this 236, this whole thing here is being divided by 7, so we should really tackle that division of 7 first. And you can do this by doing a proportion. So for example, we could set this over 1. And if you want to do it that way, or again, we could just go ahead and say, well, what's the opposite of a division of 7? I could multiply both sides by 7 to clear that division of 7 on the left-hand side. This now is going to give me 236 plus x is now equal to 40 times 7, which gives us 280. If we remove the 236 from both sides, we will again see that x is going to be equal to 44 sandwiches need to be sold on day 7. All right, so I hope that that was helpful. If you do have any questions, feel free to let me know.